Welcome to the 4-hour work-life course with me, Suppoman. The purpose of this course is to help you increase your productivity within a short space of time so that you improve your overall quality of life, so that you improve your overall work-life balance. What I'm going to show you is the best of what I have learned working online. And I have found that working online allows me to be very efficient and be very effective with my time. It allows me to make sure that I come back time and time again, do great work, ensure that I'm keeping everything going and keeping everything growing. Now, the proof that I'm going to show that I achieve this work-life balance is in this course. I am going to attempt to do this course completely, fully filmed, fully edited in just 4 hours. Now, I am in a really fortunate position today that on Udemy I am earning anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And it's coming up to the end of March 2017 right now. And as you can see here, I am virtually at $3,000 a month. And basically I am able to achieve this by just making sure that I'm doing a bit of work every day, that I'm managing my time, that I'm looking closely at what I do in my time to make sure that I'm producing good work, effective work. So by effective work, I don't necessarily mean answering emails, browsing the internet, making a coffee, getting myself a Coke, getting myself something from the fridge. No, this is 4 hours of solid, effective work which will progress my business forward. So I hope that you enjoy everything that I'm going to share with you in this course, and I hope that it enables you to have a more enriching life, a life where you can do more with your time, with your leisure time, spend more time with family, and also be able to get good sleep on a nightly basis. So I will see you in the first lecture. The reason why I'm bringing you this course is because this is what my life used to look like. It used to be 50% work. So if we're looking at the complete spectrum, if we're looking at all 24 hours that are used on a daily basis, a lot of that time was spent commuting to work, doing a lot of work at work, and then the commute back home, which left me very little time to do anything for myself, go on the internet, learn more. It left me with less than a quarter of my day to be able to spend time with my family, with my son, being a dad, being a good partner. It left me with much less time to be able to do these things and left me being far less effective in this role because I had so little time to dedicate to it. And when I was growing up, my father was rarely there. Looking at this work-life balance, his was more than 50%. He was spending so much time at work, and if he wasn't at work, he'd be sleeping to recover from work. So I spent very little time with him. It's only been in later years where I've been able to actually spend time with him, get to know him better. So I don't want the same for my son or any future children. I want to be an effective father. I want to be there. I want to spend quality time with my children. So I don't like this balance, but this is always what my life has been. A lot of commuting, a lot of hours of work, little leisure time, little family time, and my sleep was actually less than this. 4 to 5 hours sleep a night that I got. So it meant that when I went back to work the next day and did a whole 50% of my day at work, it meant that I wasn't as effective, wasn't as productive because I hadn't slept completely. I wasn't fully rested. And because my quality of life was also decreasing, it meant that my work further suffered. So it was a vicious cycle, a cycle that could only get worse and worse over time. If I do this until my retirement age, which is about 70 in the UK, if I do this till I'm 70, I doubt I'll even be alive. This is not something that I could survive on. However, working online, I am now able to achieve this. 17% of my working day is now spent doing work. 17%. Now within that 17%, I am making sure that I am working effectively and efficiently. I'm making sure that I'm progressing the growth of my business. I'm making sure that I am adding to my products. I am making sure that I am adding value to my students and everybody that follows me on a daily basis. And as long as I can maintain a 17% work day, what that means is that coming back every day, doing a little more, means that all the work that I do can be just effective. Okay, there's no meetings to go to, there's no lunch breaks spent with other colleagues and all this kind of thing which makes up your workday. No, I can just concentrate on producing courses, on producing content, producing videos for YouTube, and doing all this within 17% of a working day. Basically just spending 4 hours a day working and making sure that I do effective work in that time, leaving me a lot more time for leisure. Now you can see here I put 28% on leisure, 30% on family. It doesn't necessarily have to be that percentage. You can spend much less time with leisure, much more time with family, or you can spend even more time with leisure. You can spend time with your friends, developing relationships, self-improvement, going on Udemy or going on Skillshare or going on YouTube and learning more so that you can progress your own career forward. And so this is what I'm able to do. This is why I like producing courses, because I've got more leisure time to learn and do more things and progress my professional life and my personal life, and I'm able to bring the knowledge that I learn in my leisure time to my professional life, thus leaving me more time with family, more time to be able to rest and not put pressure on myself that, oh, I've only got like an hour with my son before bed. Oh, I can only stay with him, half an hour at bedtime. Otherwise, I'll have much less leisure time. I don't have to worry about time pressures with this work-life balance. So I am going to be sharing with you exactly how I managed to achieve this effective work-life balance in the following lectures. But this is essentially why I am bringing you this course. Is to help you be able to achieve this kind of balance in your life. And this is something which is really achievable online. Exactly a year ago, I was not even on Udemy. I came to Udemy, I started my Udemy career from scratch, and now I have built it to being able to achieve $3,000 a month or more. And the reason why is because I make sure that I am constantly creating content, constantly adding value to people's lives, and that enables me to be able to make good money online whilst also having a great life. Life really could not be better than it is right now. So I'm hoping that in this course you learn all the techniques that I am using currently in order to be able to have a better life and work effectively online and be happy in my job, happier than I've ever been doing any job online or elsewhere. So I hope that you come to enjoy this and come to replicate this in your own life, and I will see you in the next lecture. What tool do I use to be able to have a work-life balance like this? Well, let me show you right here. This spreadsheet has come to be exactly what I use to live my professional life these days. So what I do is I basically cut this spreadsheet up into the date, how many lectures I do, how many courses I do, the additional work that I do, YouTube videos. You can see how many courses I've got approved because of doing all of these lectures, and you can also see how many Facebook live videos that I've done too to add value. So this has been my guideline. I've done 564 lectures since I started on Udemy a year ago, and you can see here exactly what lectures that I have done per course per day. So basically on a daily basis I have a view to what I have done. I can see whether I have been effective in working. Now on some days I do 2 lectures, on other days I do 13, 14 lectures. It all depends really on how small my lectures are and how much energy I wake up with in the day. I can do 10 lectures in one sitting, and I make sure that I do that when I can. And sometimes when I've got 3 lectures done, it's because I've done a lot of planning for those lectures. I'm making sure I've got the right info for those lectures. So sometimes I take more time on these lectures, hence why some days it's 3, sometimes it's 10. But what I would say as a guideline for lectures, when I am doing work online, I make sure that I do at least 3 lectures a day. What that means is that if I overachieve on some days and I get 5 or 7, I could be happy, or 17 in some cases. Yet if I do 2 or sometimes 1, then I don't feel so guilty because I'm making sure that I'm being productive on average. Okay, so you can see here my schedule. You can see here the spreadsheet that I have been using for months and months in order to be able to make sure that I am putting courses out, lectures out on a daily basis. And as you can see here, some of these YouTube videos where I've not done lectures, these YouTube videos have been able to enable me to grow from 11,000 subscribers at the end of November 2016 to now 134,000 subscribers as of March 2017. So these videos took a lot of effort in terms of the information in them, the entertainment I wanted to create in the videos, and that is how that has been able to enable me to grow in my YouTube presence. It's enabled me to get 6 figures worth of subscribers for me to be able to provide entertainment to 134,000 people, and it's because of the work that I put into this. But because I come back time and time again working online, which is one of the hardest things to do, one of the hardest things to do about working online is being able to self-manage yourself, because what happens is you've got all this free time that you can play with because you haven't got a boss. You are your own boss. Sometimes time is your boss, and you've got to make sure that you are always putting content out. Otherwise, you'll stop doing it and you'll stop making the money from it. You'll stop being successful and everything will suffer. So I make sure that through the 4-hour work life that I am able to constantly be putting out content that enables me to succeed one way or another, whether it's Udemy, whether it's YouTube. Okay, now another way in which this spreadsheet has been really helpful is that in the last few weeks I have actually done no new lectures. So what it does is it makes me feel a sense of, right, I've really got to now make up for that time. So where you can see within the Google AdWords course that I did recently, I did so many lectures and sometimes felt I was burnt out. So on this particular day, I did 14 lectures. So given that I have been doing so many lectures on Google AdWords and recently, what that means is that I could probably afford to have a few days off. In this period here, I went to Amsterdam, and since I've come back, I have done no lectures whilst I've kind of refreshed myself and wanting to get back into work. So not only does this spreadsheet allow me to keep track of making sure I'm productive all the time, but it also gives me a stark reality when I haven't done the work. And obviously it was my son's birthday, I went on holiday, and I've done no work since. So this says to me, right, Suppoman, now you've got to get back to work and you've got to do some work so that you can maintain this 4-hour work life. So this spreadsheet is fundamental to my life and absolutely what you need to do. So whatever it is you do online, what you need to do is you need to make a spreadsheet like this. You need to cut it down into the actionable points, the things that you need to produce on a daily basis to make sure your business is progressing and growing. So you've got to cut your schedule down into all of these various different activities which will progress your business forward, and make sure that you are keeping the numbers up and that you are tallying them up so that you know within yourself that you are happy in what you're doing, and you can keep yourself motivated that you are on track and that you know you are constantly keeping the business moving forward. There's no worse feeling in the world than when you feel you're not progressing your business forward and you get into this state where you don't do anything. You kind of sit around, you're kind of building yourself up into this depression where you're thinking, oh, I need to get working and I haven't done any work. So what you need to do is you need to have some guideline like this to keep you off doing that. The danger of doing that can have horrible repercussions on your business. So I hope that this schedule gives you a really good indication as to how you can manage your time effectively and ensure that you are having that balance so that you can keep on enjoying a life like this. So I hope this has really helped you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. This course really is no joke. I am really going to attempt to complete this in a 4-hour period. So what I'm going to do is I am now going to create a new course so you know that this is happening right now live. Okay, so ready to create a new course? Yes, I think so. And essentially, the whole purpose of this course is to show you that you need to create a system that enables you to work effectively and efficiently in your daily work life. Okay, so I'm going to call this the 4-hour work life, double productivity, and have a better life. Create course, okay? And now you can see it has now been created. And what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be adding the curriculum in between this lecture and the next lecture. But what I want to show you really is that you need to have an effective system that enables you to work quickly online, okay? So if I just show you what my system is, what I use online is this tool here called OBS. And the reason why I use OBS is because what happens is it renders your video while you're filming the next one, okay? So with what I used to use, which is ScreenFlow, what happens is that you need to create the lecture, then you need to edit it, then you have to render it, and then you have to add it to iMovie and then render it again before it is available to be used as a lecture. However, with OBS, which is a free software by the way, with OBS you can set it up so that it completely complements your working system. So a lot of what I do is screen capture. So you've got the screen and then you've got my face. So on this particular scene, you've got my face and then you have got the image here. And then I can transition to scene 2, which is where you've got my face in the bottom left corner and then you've got the screen capture, whatever's happening on the screen in front of me. And this enables me to work very fast. It enables me to basically create a lecture and then once I've finished it, it's automatically rendered, and as long as I don't need to do many edits on it, then I can just automatically publish it as a lecture. So you need to make sure that you've got an efficient working practice in place, or working system in place, so that you are able to work quickly without compromising on the quality. So this may be a free software that I can use. However, what I will say is that it is a high quality software. Look at this. It is very high quality. Look at that. In just seconds, you can go from one screen to another. As you can see, I need to do a little bit of work on my green screen, but you can see the awesome power of having a quick system. This will save me a whole hour's worth of editing and rendering in order to have it available, in order to have it ready to go on my Udemy course. Okay, so the first main lesson and takeaway I want you to have is create an effective system. If you've got a system that takes you way too long to produce something, then you've got to look at better ways of being able to reduce the time. You've got to look at different software, you've got to look at different systems in order to reduce that time right down without compromising on the quality. And something that I see happening a lot on the Udemy studio, which is where a lot of the Udemy instructors talk and discuss problems, discuss, improvements, things that they could do better, and start and kind of crowdsource advice. What I realise is that a lot of people spend a lot of time on scripting. They can spend about 8 hours to produce about half an hour worth of usable, legitimate video. That's terrible. I'm sorry, but it is quite terrible. Obviously, if you are doing something a little bit more advanced in the way of your production, then fine, I get it. However, on a date, if you are producing screen capture like this and showing examples and showing, how to do something, how to do a system a certain way, if you're doing something like this, you can dramatically reduce the time. And as I said, this was one of the ways in which I did it. I moved away from ScreenFlow to using OBS. And OBS is free. As long as you can just type in OBS software on Google and it will find it for you. And you can just download it for free. And this has been a lifesaver, a time saver, and absolutely brilliant for working more effectively online. So create a system that allows you to work efficiently and effectively. I hope that's really helped, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Time equals money. That is how most of us have been designed and conditioned to think throughout our natural lives. That if we work 8 hours a day, we are going to get 8 hours worth of money. And if we only work 4 hours a day, we're only going to make half that amount of money. We are designed to think that working harder means getting the money. not that working smarter equals the same money. Now, I can retrace myself back to when I worked as a professional, working 8 to 9 hours a day. Okay, now I would say, being honest with you and with myself, that I really worked about 2 to 3 hours in a day. And that most of the other time was looking at emails, going to the coffee machine, chatting with other team members, chatting with the boss, going out to lunch. And really, if you really knuckled down to how much time you spent working, it would only be around about 2 to 3 hours on a daily basis. But because of the way most of us are paid, either by salary or by hour, we kind of equate time with money. That the more hours we work, the more money we get. And this is how my dad used to think. And this is how my dad, unfortunately, used to work. He used to work 12 to 16 hour days. He used to be working all the time, either through the night or in the daytime, and he would never really spend a lot of time with us. And even when I was working, I didn't see my son or partner a lot because I was always working, thinking that the more I worked, the more money I would make. But something that you've got to get out of your head is that time equals money. What actually is the case is that work equals money. So if you are working smarter and being able to work effectively within a 4-hour period than working ineffectively or inefficiently over 8 hours, then you will come to a realization that as long as you are sitting down doing the work, you will be able to make the money. So instead of working a whole 8 hours with 2 hours maybe commuting here or there, at the beginning or the end of the day, if you are at home doing 4 hours straight work, you're probably doing more work than most people are doing working 8 hours a day, only really fitting in 2 to 3 hours of work. I know how it is. I used to be looking at emails, dealing with other managers, office politics. All that stuff wasn't really work. It was more office politics. There was more kind of miscellaneous. The actual work, what I was employed to do, I was only doing 2 to 3 hours worth of work. So now that I am doing this particular job, what it means is that I am able to work effectively. Right, I know that if I just knuckle down and just do the work because I work on my own, although I collaborate with some people and I've got business partners as such, really I work on my own as a teacher. What that means I can do is I can just sit down, not have to worry about all these other things that tend to interfere with the normal professional working in an office. I can just work for 16-17% of the day doing effective work, and it will be the equivalent of somebody working a full 8-hour, 10-hour day. So it's work that equals the money. The productivity and the input that you put into the work is what generates the output. It's not the time, it's the input. The input generates the output. So in the next section, what I'm going to show you is all the different things I have to do within my time. Now, you probably think, oh, he just does lectures, Is that all he has to do on a daily basis? Some of us have all kinds of really complicated work activities to do. I'm going to show you in the next lecture all the different types of work activities that I have to do and why I have to work smart in order to get the most out of what I do. Because if I don't work smart, then what's going to happen is I am going to let things slip. So I'll show you in the next lectures exactly what it is that I do. There are a number of things that I have to do as a social media instructor to make sure that I stay on top of my work and in prime form for my job. Basically, my job is like any professional. You've got to keep practicing, you've got to keep training, you've got to keep learning, you've got to stay on top of all the latest updates to anything in order to be able to be the best at what you do. And that is what I aim to be, the best at what I do. As you can see here, one of the things that I do within my day-to-day business is manage my Udemy career. So I'm an instructor on Udemy, as you know. I've got 90,000 students. I've got 23 courses, all in disparate and diverse areas. Okay, so if we have a look, I have to deal every day with questions and answers from my students, ensuring that I am serving them as best possible. I get messages on a day-to-day basis. I've whittled it down today, but I get messages on a day-to-day basis where people are asking for my help. How do I increase my subscribers? How do I get my YouTube videos to rank? How do I get more likes on my Facebook page? And I get these questions every day. So there's a lot that I need to do. Not only is it making courses and ensuring that I am keeping on top of the bread and butter of my business, which is lectures, I have also got to do everything else. So, as I've said, Udemy is just one arm of what I do. It's the central arm of what I do, but it is one of the things on a daily basis that I need to do. I have not only got Udemy, I've also got Skillshare, and on Skillshare I've got nearly 1,500 followers. I've got over 3,000 students, and I teach 16 subjects on Skillshare, which means that I also get questions, discussions, projects that I have got to have an input in. So I've also got to produce lectures specifically for Skillshare. So I don't just necessarily produce the lectures and put them on Skillshare and Udemy, because that isn't being fair to my students on both platforms. I've got to make sure it's tailored to both. Even though the content is pretty much the same, I've got to make sure it's tailored to both. So I have got that to do as well. Now, the bread and butter of my teaching career is lectures. But in order to be able to produce lectures, I've got to make sure I'm on top form on every single social media platform that I am helping people out with managing. So the first one is Facebook. This is my Facebook page. I've got over 200,000 people following me on Facebook, and I am making sure that I am providing content for people to engage with on a daily or at least weekly basis. So here is a tutorial I made specifically for my Facebook page in order to educate people and make sure I'm providing value to people outside of Udemy. I want to be well known for teaching people how to grow their social media presence in general, not just on Udemy. Udemy gives me amazing exposure to so many people with structured video courses, but I can reach millions of people outside of Udemy, and one of those ways is through Facebook. And this is a video that I did yesterday, how to be a better YouTuber. As you can see, it's had 2.5 thousand views. It's reached nearly 15,000 people. I went live for 3/4 of an hour where I gave 3 tips on how you can grow or be a better YouTuber, grow your YouTube account. 3 tips. And I stayed live online, and this is 45 minutes of time. This is time that I'm spending outside of Udemy to make sure that I'm providing value to people in the world. So work equals money. You know, I could do 4 hours of writing and responding to emails, or I could also provide value going live on camera and making sure that people are getting the best value from me by going live on Facebook. And I make sure that I am forever kind of promoting stuff on Facebook and making sure that I keeping my 202,000 fans happy. Then I have got Instagram. Now, Instagram has been something I've been growing over the course of a year from 0 to 51,000 followers. Now, this is a hard thing to do generally as a full-time job. There are a lot of people that are Instagram entrepreneurs. They literally spend all day just on Instagram making sure they're growing their accounts, and a lot of them haven't even managed to achieve the amount of followers that I have organically. I haven't bought these followers. I haven't done anything underhand to achieve these followers. I do all my Instagram practices to the word, which is why I sell an Instagram course. Then we've got YouTube. Now, this is one of my channels. This is my Udemy channel, where again, this is where I am providing value as a social media instructor to people outside of Udemy. This is along the same lines as Facebook. I am making sure that I'm providing separate videos to my YouTube audience so that they can achieve value from me. This is in a range of courses, whether it's social media or whether it's IT. But I need to make sure I keep on top of my YouTube subscribers and that I'm constantly growing my YouTube subscriber count. So as you can see here, I've got 1,988 subscribers. A few months ago, this had 0. If you have tried to grow a YouTube account, you will know that even growing to 2,000 subscribers is difficult. And in just a couple of months, I've gone from 10 to nearly 2,000 subscribers. This is because I need to keep on top of my YouTube channel. And then ultimately, we've got this, which is probably my bread and butter as well as my Udemy. YouTube and being an entertainer on YouTube is also fundamentally important to me. As you can see, I've got 133, nearly 134,000 subscribers. I need to be making sure that I am keeping them updated with content, and this is a tough thing to do, because in order to be able to achieve, let's say, for this particular video where I got over nearly 1.2 million views. In order to be able to produce a video like that takes a lot of time and effort planning, content planning, making sure the content is delivered in a brilliant way without any, awkwardness or anything like that. And so this has achieved, $2,000 on its own. So I have got many arms of the business. I've got to keep on top of all the social media accounts, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat. I've got to keep on top of all of those. I've got to keep on top of Skillshare. I've got to keep on top of Udemy. All of these have to be managed simultaneously. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. But what I ensure that I do is I do a little every day. A little bit every day makes such a difference. If I went on once a month on my Instagram, it would all fall down. If I went on once a month on Facebook, I start losing all of my fans. If I only went on once a month on YouTube, all of a sudden I'd lose my relevance. If I produced a course once every 6 months on Udemy, I'd lose my relevance. I'd lose my grip on the value that I can provide to tons and tons of students. So there are so many arms I need to manage, hence why that spreadsheet is absolutely golden in terms of being able to help me manage this huge workload, because most of these, like YouTube, lots of people have careers in YouTube, like PewDiePie, Dan TDM, Jenna Marbles, Ty Lopez, Jerry Banfield. All of these people are virtually full-time YouTubers. Their bread and butter is from YouTube. But this is only part of what I need to do, as well as managing Facebook, Skillshare, and Udemy. Okay, so there's so much to manage, and this gives you an indication that work equals money. As long as I'm structuring my time well and doing effective work on a day-to-day basis on each and every arm that I manage within my business, I can ensure that I keep on progressing, keep my business growing, and keep the monetization growing as well. Like I said, a year ago, virtually everything was at zero. Even my YouTube channel, a year ago, my YouTube channel had 1,000 subscribers. Now got 133,000 subscribers. A lot of work needs to be done. But as long as you can manage your time effectively and make sure you're working efficiently and effectively on a day-to-day basis, that equals money. Working efficiently, effectively, and smartly with your time equals money. And you may say, well, time does equal money, because if you spent 8 hours instead of 4 hours, you'd probably make even more money. And that may be true. However, what I've also found is that you will burn yourself out if you do 8 hours a day of continuous work. I mean, when people are in an office, there's a lot of things that cut down a lot of the work you're doing, like answering emails, chatting to people, chatting to managers, having meetings. All these things break down your day. If you are basically working at an optimal level for 8 hours a day, you'll burn yourself out and you'll just stop doing it. And I remember when I did my 10-hour Facebook course, so one of my courses, this course here, this course has 11 hours worth of lectures. This burnt me out. When I did this course, I felt so burnt out, I didn't feel like I could continue because I was working so hard on it to make 11 hours worth of content in time for October. And so I realised the downfalls of working so hard over a long period. You burn yourself out and you kind of are left thinking, I don't want to continue this. I'm just going to quit. It's just not worth it. So you've got to make sure you work smart, not hard. You've got to make sure that you work smart, not just for a long period of time. And I hope that this helps you if you are managing, let's say, for instance, an online business on top of professional life. You've got to work smart. You've got to make sure you're doing a little bit every day to keep on top of it all. So I hope that this has helped you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. My spreadsheet tool is effectively my boss. What I mean by that is it forces me to look at what I'm doing, and if I'm not doing it well enough, this spreadsheet will show me. Okay, it shows me my outputs. It shows me what am I creating on a day-to-day basis. And if I'm not doing it well enough, if I'm not happy with the numbers, then it means I need to improve something. So this forces me to take a good look at myself and holds me accountable to my outputs. Okay, so When my partner asked me just yesterday, she said, "What have you done all day?" And I was like, So, I have been back from my holiday a few days now, but I've still not done anything. Now, something that I have been doing is I've been planning what I'm going to do next. So there's not been any direct lecture outputs as such. What I have been doing is I have still been staying on top of Facebook Live. So I did a Facebook Live tutorial yesterday for 45 minutes. And that was one thing I did yesterday. It's not on here. It should be on, it is on there. So although I did do something yesterday, I didn't necessarily have any lectures as an output. And I didn't have an output on this spreadsheet that I could be happy with. And I normally would be happy if I had something like 14 lectures or 5 lectures. 5 lectures here. So I would be happy if I had some output. So this spreadsheet forces me to look at myself and think, right, I've slacked. I have slacked there and I need to do better. So when my partner said to me, "So what have you done today?" I couldn't really say anything. I had to say, well, I did a live stream. Yeah, a live stream, 45 minutes. It was automatically rendered and put straight on Facebook. What did you do for the rest of the 3 hours and 15 minutes? So it forces me to be accountable. It forces me to be responsible for producing productivity. It forces me to be responsible for producing stuff on a day-to-day basis so I do not fall behind. If I fall behind, it is a disaster for my business. So the spreadsheet tool not only allows you to become effective and efficient because you're reporting down what you're doing and you can sit back at the end of the day and go, yeah, did a good job there. What it also does, it makes you go, that was a pretty rubbish day. I didn't really do enough. Okay, so then it makes you work the next day. And as you can see, today I'm going to produce a whole series of lectures for this course so that there is no more zeros and I make up for all the zeros that I have got here. Now, I've got to say, I am personally tough on myself, and I think it would benefit you to be also tough on yourself. So I've done 14 lectures here, and I've done 7 lectures here. Now, I want to make sure I do at least 3 a day. So by doing 7 and 14, that means I've done 21 lectures in total when I should have done, when at least as a minimum, I should have done 6. All right. So that means that I have done 15 lectures over, which means I've done 5 days worth of extra lectures. 3 times 5 is 15. So essentially I could say, well, I made up for not doing, 3 lectures here, 3 lectures, 3 lectures. No, I don't do that. I don't say to myself, well, I did 14 lectures the other week, so that makes up for it. No. You did 14 lectures because you could do 14 lectures in your time period. So therefore, it's no excuse. Okay? Make sure that you're doing your work, Michael Suppoman. Okay? So that's how I look at this. So basically, when I see a 0, I see that as a bit of a failure on my part, and I've got to work harder next time. So, holding yourself accountable to something, this is basically my virtual boss. This is my online boss. This tells me, without actually saying the words, this tells me you've done a good job or you've not done a good job. Okay, so holding yourself accountable with a tool like this is absolutely pivotal to being effective and efficient online. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you in the next lecture. We are living in a golden age at the moment. There used to be an era where the only way you could get in front of people is by spending ludicrous amounts of money on a paper ad, on a cinema ad, on a TV ad. The way to get in front of people used to be obscenely expensive. Now it's so much easier and you can do it right at your desktop. You can do it just like that. Okay, so looking at my Google AdWords account, I have reached over 2 million people online with my adverts on this particular account. I've got 2 Google AdWords accounts. On this particular one, I have reached 2 million people. This is how I have managed to grow my YouTube account. So a lot of people saying, how do I get more YouTube subscribers? Oh, I don't have any money. You need to have money to be able to promote yourself these days. So it's not like it was. Okay, to buy a paper ad used to cost you hundreds of pounds. To buy a national paper ad used to cost you thousands of pounds. To buy a TV ad used to cost you tens of thousands of pounds, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds. And, being seen on a cinema screen costs you £3,000, $4,000. Okay, now for a tiny snippet of those prices, you can be seen by millions of people online. Okay, now as you can see on YouTube, I've been seen by over 2 million people. We have a look on my Facebook ads. I have been seen by over 2 million people. Again, I have been seen by over 5 million people in the world through just my adverts. Okay, I advertise on my Facebook page, I advertise on Facebook groups, I advertise on YouTube, I advertise virtually anywhere you can advertise in order to build my online presence, in order to build my number of students, in order to build my number of subscribers on YouTube. All of these things come as a result of getting in front of people. And nowadays, in this day and age, with Facebook ads, with Google ads, YouTube ads, it's so easy to be seen by people for a fraction of the cost. So to be seen by over 5 million people, I have spent less than $3,000 to be seen by over 5 million people worldwide. Not just in the UK, not just in my local town, not just in my region, but worldwide. From people in 200 countries, people are able to see me. And this is as a result of going and advertising my products online and advertising myself online. So with Google AdWords and with Facebook ads, it's so easy to be seen. So I do a lot of work. I do a lot of my lectures, I do a lot of my videos, and I make sure that I do the groundwork so that there is something to be seen. And then I get on the advertising platforms, and then I put campaigns out so I can be seen. And I do remarketing, retargeting campaigns so I can keep on being seen by these people. These people, 2 million people, and also these 2 million people on Google are people that are now in my funnel. These are people who I've served an impression on. These are people who have managed to see my content, and the people who then interact with my content, I can remarket to. So these are a bank of people that go into my funnel and I can keep on just advertising to and being seen by. So all of these things come as a result of working smart, okay? You can put out the work and then you can just find the customers through Google AdWords or from Facebook ads. Okay, you put the work in and then you find the customers. Everything can be done right here on your desktop. Is that not an amazing day and age that we live in? So working smart allows you to be seen by more people. There are so many businesses that I've worked with that have spent money on advertising in the traditional platforms, the traditional paper, the traditional advert on TV or an advert on radio. These are the antiquated ways of being seen. And this is why online businesses like mine are leaving these traditional offices in the dust, because we are progressive companies and you can be one too. You can just advertise yourself online. And as long as you are entertaining people and making people engaged in what you're doing, you will have success with advertising. One of the worst things about advertising is when somebody sees your ad and swipes past it, or sees your ad and ignores it. That's the worst thing you can do. So a little bit of advice is to make sure that you make an entertaining ad. Entertaining and emotionally fueled, or adverts that emotionally connect with your audience, are ones that do well. And on Facebook, I have spent less than a cent to reach thousands of people online. Less than a cent to reach thousands of people. Less than a cent. I mean, this is ridiculous when you think about that. So, this is the amazing power of the era we live in today. We can get in front of people so easily. And this is why on Udemy, I show people how to make the most of these online advertising platforms, because it is just such an amazing world we live in today. The most amazing thing is that you can be anything you want to be nowadays. If you wanted to be a politician, you could launch a political career with Facebook ads. If you wanted to be a musician or a stand-up comedian, you can do all these things with Facebook ads. All you need to do is put something out there showing you doing whatever talent it is, stand-up comedy or playing music on your desktop with, FL Studio or Ableton 9 Live. You can do these things on your desktop. You can showcase your talent and you can put it out to millions of people who will see you buy your products simply because they see you doing it. Is that not amazing? So, this is a marvellous world that we live in, and because of the magical platforms like Facebook and Google and Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat, we can be seen by hundreds of thousands of people, and people can find us and we can be known for something simply through having these platforms. So, it's an amazing world that we live in, and one of the key ways in which you can work smart, not hard. Because what you're doing is you are making the content, you're putting it out to millions of people. That is working smart. You're making people know about you and what you do. And whether or not they buy from you, they now know about you. You're now in their mind. So that's the important thing. So now is the time when you can work even more smart. So I hope that this has really helped you and inspired you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Who will do the work? If I'm only working 4 hours a day, who's going to be working all the rest of the time? I need a team to work for me. How am I going to get it to do? How am I going to get everything done in 4 hours? So, if you work hard over 4 hours, most of the time you are going to cut out what you would normally spend time wasted doing in an 8-hour day. So if you were working over 8 hours, you'd probably spend about 3 or 4 hours of that doing other things, relaxing, procrastinating, checking your emails, checking the websites, doing some online shopping, grabbing lunch, going out having a walk. Don't know. But the fact is, most people, when they do an 8-hour day, don't work 8 hours. Not really. They normally work optimal 4 hours. So why not just work a hard 4 hours and then have the walks, have lunch, do whatever you need to, go online shopping afterwards, after the workday, the 4-hour workday is over. So I know what you're saying. Some of you are saying, I need to be working around the clock. I need to be making sure I'm marketing all the time or promoting myself all the time. How am I going to do that in 4 hours? That's where Facebook ads and Google ads work, and outsourcing works. You can get Google ads and Facebook ads to be working while you're asleep. If you're selling digital products, it's the absolute best thing, because while you're asleep, it's selling for you. You've basically got like an autopilot happening. Facebook ads, Google ads, some form of software is working for you while you're asleep. So it's basically your salesperson. And for an inexpensive amount of money, you can be advertising on Google AdWords, advertising on Facebook ads, and you will have an effective work system. You'll be doing a lot of work in the 4 hours, and then you'll be doing work with the Facebook ads and the Google ads working for you around the clock, or outsourcers working for you at a cheap rate. You can get outsourcing for most things these days, and there are some things you can just unburden yourself of. Like for instance, for my courses, I haven't yet added subtitles to my courses, but when I do, I'm going to outsource that. I could spend hours adding these files to my courses and transcribing all of them, because I know what I'm saying. So I could do it. But why should I do it when I can outsource to a company that will do it for, kind of like $6 an hour? They will just get a load done. So why would I bother doing it myself? So who will do the work? You will find a way of getting that work spread out through other people. So, and also through software and through advertising platforms. So you don't need to worry about who will do the work, because there's always solutions out there if you need them. For me, I do my work, lectures and everything, and then I've got my Facebook ads and Google AdWords campaigns working for me in the background, so I don't need to worry about it so much. So there's always solutions, and there's solutions out there. If you go on Upwork, you can find people that will do things for you at a very cheap rate just to get experience. And if you've got somebody young around you that doesn't mind working for free, that's about 15, 16, and they can help you out, they can get some experience of working in a professional self-employed environment. So there's always solutions. So who will do the work? There are solutions out there. And this is on the assumption that you really do need something happening for you in the background once you've stopped working, because you can't rest otherwise. So there are solutions out there. And like with me, I've got co-instructors on some of my Udemy courses, and these people help me out with answering questions, with managing courses, as I do with them. So they can produce the content while I manage the course, and vice versa. And that is how, you find a workaround for this, and how you work in partnership with other people. So I hope that that's helped you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Where will I be in 10 years' time? Okay, a lot of us look at what can we achieve in a year? What can we achieve in a month, in half a year? A lot of people think to themselves in terms of years, and then they think to themselves, well, I've got to the end of the year, I've not achieved much success, so I've been a failure, okay? But you can't think of it that way, okay? Think about where you were 10 years ago and where you are now. Are you a lot happier with where you are 10 years down the line? Are you, do you think that you've progressed your career 10 years down the line, even if it's in a small way? Because if you have, that's progress, and that's a great thing. You shouldn't necessarily bind yourself to seeing where will I be in a year's time as being an overall indication of your success. So let's look at my YouTube as an example. So in December 2014, when I started on YouTube, come December 2015, I had 1,000 subscribers. It took me a year to get 1,000 subscribers. I learnt that from scratch. I went on there, I thought, I'm going to be super successful. I'm such a good presenter. I'm going to get on there, I'm going to boss it. I've got this Superman cape. I'm going to be absolute genius. People are going to love me. I'm going to be Dan TDM in a few years. I'm going to literally have 1 million subscribers at the end of my first year. And at the end of my first year, I realised the reality. It's not as easy as you think, okay? And I was still learning. And I just thought to myself, I've been a failure. A whole year to get 1,000 subscribers. And then next year I'll have 2,000. And the year after 3,000, I'll basically never hit 1 million. Okay, that's what I thought. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to quit this, throw it in the towel. What's the point in this YouTube? I'm never going to be able to get enough views and subscribers to make money and make a decent living out of it, so I should throw in the towel. I didn't, however. I carried on testing, failing, and learning. And then ultimately what happened is I just came across an epiphany. I came across a small bang. And if you look in my YouTube course, you'll see what I'm talking about with the small bang. The small bang is essentially the indication that I'm onto something big. Okay, so I'd been trying and testing for ages. I'd been going, getting the odd 10 to 50 subscribers a day and thinking, doing quite well, muddling along. And all of a sudden, boom, I made a video that all of a sudden made me go from about 1,200, 1,500 subscribers to all of a sudden 6,000 in literally days. Okay, days. 1,000 to 6,000. I made a video which hit the big time. It was like, it went really well. It got 6 figures worth of views. All of my other videos at that point, I'd spent YouTube ads just to get a 50,000 views, and it never went anywhere. And all of a sudden, I made a great video. This is where I realized about emotional connection. You need to make an emotional connection with your audience to be able to be successful. Okay, that was my biggest learning curve, which if I had quit after a year, would never have known. So I kind of thought to myself, on a longer term basis, let's just carry on, see what else I can achieve with YouTube. And I came across this epiphany. I went to 6,000 subscribers. Then I got to 10,000 subscribers and realised I knew something enough to teach it. And then once I had taught it, I thought, right, I'm going to take a little break from Udemy. I'm going to really look at YouTube. I'm going to really go for it. I'm going to see what I can achieve with YouTube. And all of a sudden, I went from 10, 11,000 subscribers to 130,000 in just a couple of months. 2 years it took me to get to 10,000 subscribers. 2 whole years it took me to get to 10,000 subscribers. In the first year I only got 1,000. 2 years, 10,000. And now, just 3 months after my 2-year mark, I am now on 130,000 subscribers. Where could I be in 10 years' time? YouTube started, 12 years ago now. Okay, if I'd started on YouTube and had the same trajectory I had now, then I would probably be on about 10 million subscribers now. So the 10-year view is more powerful than the 1-year view. And that's what I want you to think about here. Where will you be in 10 years' time? So in 1 year, I've achieved 90,000 Udemy students. I have achieved 23 courses. I have achieved $17,500 in revenue. I have achieved so much on YouTube. I've achieved so much on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And I kind of just think to myself, right, if I can do that in 1 year, where will I be in 10 years? Now, if I didn't have 90,000 students, if I didn't have 100,000 subscribers, I would still think to myself, where will I be in 10 years? You know, I may have, let's say, 15,000 Udemy students, but I would think, well, you know, the next year I could have 100,000, the year after 300,000. I can keep going, and in 10 years I could have 1 million students. Okay, so where will you be in 10 years? So you can't look at yourself and think, oh, I've got to where I am now and I feel like a failure. I haven't achieved what I was supposed to achieve. I came to that realization when I turned 30 just a couple of years ago. And I was 30 years old and I thought, at this age, I should be a company director. I should be a millionaire by now. This isn't how I thought life was going to be. That was a realization where I thought, I failed. I may as well now just pack it all in, work as an administrator or a marketing person somewhere, and just, you know, and just muddle through till 70 years old. No, that was stupid thinking, okay? I'm still young. I'm still in my prime, okay? And it's never too late. It's never too late. I realised that with YouTube. Okay, lots of people said, oh, unless you were around in 2008, 2009, you're never going to be a success now. That's so wrong. Okay, I know 3 people that have managed to grow to 1 million subscribers on YouTube in just 1 year. A guy called Morgan, 15 years old. He had 3,000 subscribers this time last year. Now he's got 1.6 million subscribers. Why? Because it's never too late. It's never too late to start and to try. Okay, a year ago, when I made the decision to be a Udemy instructor, I didn't have a clue what was going to await me. I didn't know if I was going to be hugely successful or really mediocre and do badly. But I took a leap of faith and went for it. And I'm confident in 10 years' time, no matter what happens with Udemy or YouTube, that I have got a much more enriched kind of take and perception of it. And that's what I want you to take. I don't want you to have to take a leap of faith to have that understanding. Right now is never too late to do anything. And you can start being successful right now from today and think about where you'll be 10 years from now. What could you achieve in 10 years? Okay, and let me just show you an example, right? Quick one. I know of an author, can't remember his name right now, but I know of an author who took 10 years of hard work to get a bestseller and become an overnight success. Well, overnight success. He wasn't. It took 10 years of refining a book, of pushing it to publishers, of trying to get it out there. It took 10 years of hard work to eventually hit the big time, eventually hit it. In this day and age, a lot of people are achieving overnight success. It's just like, oh, you know, the Snapchat founder. His company, like 2 years later, is now worth, you know, $10 billion when it was worth squat a couple of years ago. And you kind of think to yourself, oh, you can achieve that so easily. But you can't necessarily achieve it easily. It comes with a lot of hard work and a lot of effort and a lot of failure. Failing and trying and picking yourself up and thinking to yourself, I'm just going to work harder at it. And then in 10 years' time, boom, he went from nobody to bestseller, and now he's got millions of dollars, okay? And the same thing can happen with you. Where do you want to be in 10 years? Don't look at yourself as in the 1 year view anymore. Look at yourself 10 years from now, where can you be? And you'll find that after 10 years, you could possibly have achieved so much. So I hope that this has helped and inspired you, because that's what I hope to do in this course. And I'll see you in the next lecture. Okay, I think that I am doing well on time at the moment. There's still an hour till I have to pick up my son from school. So, what I'm going to talk to you about in this lecture is learning will help you achieve so much in life. Okay, so this is basically what do you do with your free time now that you've got so much more when you double your productivity and work 4 hours a day. All right, so something that I do all the time is learn more. Okay, so you know, if you go to Udemy, there's so many things you can learn. You can learn development, business, personal development, marketing, music, how to make music. What's your passion in life? You know, and this is one of the things that I think is important about doubling your productivity and increasing your quality of life, because what you do is you open up time to be able to concentrate on yourself. You can concentrate on expanding your own knowledge, giving yourself tools that will help you not only professionally but personally as well. So let's take music for instance, okay? So let's have a look at, musical instruments. Let's see the kind of thing that you can learn. Let's say you've got a passion for music. Let's say you've got free time. Let's learn how to play the piano. Let's learn how to play the violin or the guitar. There's so many things you can learn here on Udemy or any other educational website. But this is time where you should do self-improvement, self-personal development. Okay, so you need to be looking at what are the things that will help you increase your quality of life, what will help you increase your professional life, what are the things that will make you happy ultimately. If you do these things, let's say you are able to go live on Facebook or go on YouTube exploring these passions, you'll be teaching other people whilst also helping yourself improve your own knowledge. Something that I've found, certainly teaching on Udemy, is that teaching a subject helps me do better within that subject. So teaching YouTube helped me do better with YouTube. I suddenly realised, right, I'm telling people to do all these different things. How much am I doing them myself? And then all of a sudden, I start doing all of these things myself. I start producing these entertaining, emotionally fueled videos that get people watching and get people going, And that's, what teaching did for me. So learning and exploring some of the skills that you learn will help you improve your life, both personally and professionally. So you've got Udemy, you've got Skillshare, and on Skillshare there are a number of different classes, photography classes, watercolor, being able to make logos. I mean, these are all things that if somebody came up to you, let's say a partner, and they are working on something, let's say they've created a Facebook page, they're wanting to start up a company or a charity or an interest group, and they say, could you help me with a logo? And you'll be like, I don't know how to do it. Go on Skillshare, go on YouTube, find out how to do it. No, if you leave some time to learn for yourself, you can say, yeah, I can help you. I know how to make a logo. I've learned how to do it on Skillshare. Leave it with me. Using time to self-improve and develop yourself, both personally and professionally, can open up so many more opportunities, make you happier, make the people around you happier, make you better at your job. And if you're in online teaching like me, learning how to do something means that in time you'll be able to teach people how to do something. Starting on Udemy is so easy. You just need to have a process of getting from one place to another, 0 followers to 50,000 followers. Put this all in a video course and go on Udemy. You just sign up as an instructor, create a course, it's all on there. Okay, you can do anything on Udemy. You can really teach other people how to do something. I mean, only today I'm part of a group on Facebook, and somebody is a music producer, and he was saying he did a live stream and he shared it with the group, and I said, I'm interested in doing that. What's the best tool for being able to make classical music, produce classical music? And he told me, I was like, blimey, I want to start learning that myself. And by learning it, not only will I be happier producing music that I've created myself, but I'll be able to show people how to do it in time. Okay, so never underestimate the power of what you know. And you can learn so much by going on things like Udemy and Skillshare, self-improve, and then be able to help others self-improve. So ultimately, it'll make you happy, it'll make other people happy because you're giving back. So I hope that's helped you understand why it's important to double your productivity so you save time so that you can look after yourself. So I hope that's helped, and I'll see you in the next lecture. By doubling your productivity and spending less time at work, creating thus more time for yourself and time with your family, gives you an ability, a unique and precious ability, to make yourself and others happy. A lot of us spend a lot of time being stressed out about work and about pressure and about money. But basically, by working smart and ensuring that you're doing work all the time, you can leave your work with work. you can be happy about the fact that you've done enough on a daily basis to keep everything progressing, keep everything growing, that you've got now time for yourself and time for your family, and you can spend time with them and being happy and not thinking about it and not letting it get and bother you and stress you out and pressurize you. You can just make sure you're working effectively, get everything you need to done, and you can do enough that it makes you happy. There's a lot of us workaholics out there. I'm one of them. Okay, I literally sleep, eat, breathe work. Okay, this is what I do. It's how I've been designed. However, this has been the closest I've ever gotten to letting work just stay with work, because I'm happy that what I'm doing at work is enough to keep things progressing. Now, of course, there's going to be times when I'm spending time with friends, with family, that I'll think, oh yeah, I could thinking of that idea. I leave it for work when I can do something about it. And if I've got a system that is designed to make things faster for me anyway, then when I get to work, I can just get right to work on it straight away. And another great thing about the way I work, which I hope you can replicate, is to not script everything and not necessarily make everything longer because you're a perfectionist. Okay, take the perfectionism out of things and try and produce things without sacrificing the quality. So as a big perfectionist, and a YouTuber, I spend hours sometimes editing something to make it look absolutely perfect. And sometimes it doesn't need all the editing. Sometimes it does, but a lot of the time it doesn't. It needs just a minimum viable product in order to be able to succeed. And that is what I think is important, is by having a system that helps you to work faster means that you spend less time worrying about little details that don't matter to most people. Like basically the design of this course, which has been designed to work quickly and essentially demonstrate everything I'm telling you. This is a very simple interface. Look, this is a screen. I've shown you, screens to demonstrate the things that will help you out. But also I'm using screens like this in order to just be able to simply demonstrate something to you. And, this kind of lecture could take tons and tons of effort. I could have a special Canva picture made to serve as my background. But instead I have this very simplistic background because what I say is what matters. So, by basically freeing yourself up, you have now got an ability to make others happy as well as yourself. Go on holiday, spend time learning about other cultures, learn a language, learn something that will enable you to just stay happy and you can share with others. That will enrich your life and it will enrich all the people around you because they will love to see you happy. If they care about you, they will love to see you happy. So I hope that this has helped you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Do you get enough sleep? When I used to work kind of 8 hours a day and used to have my commute to and from work, I used to realise that I didn't get enough sleep because I would have so little time to do leisurely stuff. I have so little time to spend time with my family that I try and cram everything in that short space of time I had between work and sleep, that I would go to bed late. Like I wouldn't have enough time to play computer games, or I wouldn't have enough time to go on the internet and browse my favourite websites. I wouldn't have enough time for that. So what would happen is that I would go to bed at about 2 in the morning, have to wake up about 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning on good days. Now that is not healthy. 4 to 5 hours a day is not healthy for the brain. It's not healthy for your long-term health. What it can lead to is it can lead to heart attacks, it can lead to breakdowns, emotional breakdowns, mental breakdowns, it can lead to a lower quality of life. And that was one of the big reasons why I left full-time employment working in an office, was because of the stress that it gave to me and the fact that I wasn't able to recover with enough sleep. And I felt that this was just a vicious circle that just kept on going round and round, and I would go to work and I'd be tired and I'd be like, is it ever going to end? And I'd think to myself, well, I'm like 27 and I've got years and years and years, decades and decades of life left. And I just thought to myself, is it ever going to end? This just endless work spiral, never having time for myself, never really getting enough sleep. So this job that I'm doing now is easily one of the best in terms of quality of life. I can get a lot of sleep wake up refreshed and ready to work and happy to go to work. That was another thing that I used to hate about working in employment, was that I used to have, I used to get up in the morning and think, "Oh, back to work again, oh, for goodness sake." And then somebody asked me, my partner would say, "So how are you feeling today?" I'd be like, "Yeah, brilliant." And they'd be saying, "You looking forward to going to work?" I'd be like, "Yeah, back to hell I go." I mean, that's just how bad I was. I mean, I used to think that badly of work. And the reason was because I didn't get enough sleep, and then woke up the next day thinking, "Oh, it's back to work again," and back to this endless spiral. So you need the sleep. You need to be able to work effectively, do everything you can in the day, and have no pressure when it comes to bedtime. You've done enough in your leisure time and in your family time that you can go to bed at a nice hour. That's one of the things that I find unbelievable today, is being able to just go to bed at a nice hour and relax. One of the things when I used to be in employment is I used to think to myself, right, I've got to go to work. I've got to go to sleep now because I've got to be up at a certain time. And if I don't go to sleep, then I'm not going to be well rested. And so I'd put pressure on myself to sleep. And then what would happen is that I wouldn't get enough sleep because I'd be stressing about getting to sleep. That I'd get hardly any sleep, wake up the next day, and be a zombie at work, or a walker. So, I mean, that is the definite downside of not having a good quality of life. So yes, you could work 8 hours, you could work 7 hours. If you work online, you could work for longer, you could work harder if you really wanted, but you really have to take care of yourself, because if you take care of yourself, then your body will be in the best shape to do work. And if your body is in the best shape to do work, you're going to be able to produce great work. So do you get enough sleep? And if you don't, then this could be one of the best ways in which to enrich your life and get even more sleep. So I hope that that's helped, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Does working harder now lead to early retirement or more money earlier? Now, Gary Vaynerchuk, who is one of the kind of social media icons of this day and age, he once said, "Work solidly for 18 months to 2 years. Work as hard as you can, and you will have the rest of your life to do whatever you want." That's what he says, okay? That is like a message that he's saying, that if you just work all the hours God sends right now, then that means that you could retire early, okay? What if you don't? What if you're working really hard in something that doesn't lead to a lot of money? Then what? Then you're going to have to continue another 2 years of working really hard. It turns into 4 years, then maybe 6 years, then maybe 10 years, then maybe 20 years of working really hard, and then one day, boom, drop down dead, heart attack. Is that really what you want for your life? It's a pipe dream, really. I mean, what are the chances of you really becoming a millionaire? I mean, if you work really hard and get a bit of luck, then yeah, it's potential. But for the common man, for the, typical person, is it 100% realistic? No, it's not. So, you've got to be realistic. You need to have a work-life balance. You can't just alienate people for 2 years or 18 months or 6 years or however long and say, "I've got to work, I've got to do this work, otherwise I won't have the life I want." You can't do it that way, because otherwise what will happen is your partner will leave you, your children will complain they never see you, your friends will say you were never there, and you'll probably get very little sleep. Okay, so does harder work lead to more money? There's a percentage chance it could, but at the same time, there's a higher percentage chance that it won't. And what you need to figure out in your mind is, you can possibly get where you want to get to, working effectively and efficiently within that timescale. Make sure you're well rested, have time for relationships with others, and still achieve early retirement or lots of riches earlier than most people. I'm going to tell you one other thing which I think is really important for you to grasp as well. I'm a very impatient person. I'm a person that wants everything now. Right, I want 1 million YouTube subscribers. I want 1 million Facebook fans. I want 1 million students on Udemy. I want it all now, right? What that leads to is taking shortcuts. Right, okay, I need to do some underhand tactics. I need to do this, I need to do that. I need to get as many as I can the best way, the quickest way I can. And what that does is it makes you cut corners. It makes you think, right, how can I do it? And what happens is sometimes you fall foul of the rules that govern where you work. So for instance, on Udemy, if I was to pay for fake students, or if I was to get a load of my friends to create a load of fake accounts and join my courses, Udemy might find that out and they will say that is a breach of the terms and conditions. And as a result, I could lose my ability to teach on Udemy. They could kick me out. Skillshare could. YouTube could do the same if I bought fake views. So sometimes when you do these things to get a shortcut so that you can get rich quickly, what happens is you shoot yourself in the foot, you'll lose your main source of income, and you may even end up broke. Now, is that what you want? So yes, you can work hard, but you've got to work smart within that hard. You've got to play within the rules. You've got to keep yourself rested, work efficiently, work effectively. That's the whole point of the 4-hour work life. If you can work that way, then it allows you to get the best of both worlds. You have a healthy body, healthy relationships, do things the right way, and you get the money. May not get it as quickly, but at least you get it the right way, and at least you don't shoot yourself in the foot. What's better? Let's say, for instance, I was to be kicked off Udemy if I did something like that. What would be better to me? Be making kind of £500,000 within 2 years, 3 years of being on Udemy, and losing it all and never being able to get any money off Udemy, or being able to have a gradual income, like for instance, 50,000 a year. Just keep on going like that for as long as possible. And sometimes it will increase. It will increase eventually. If you get up to 50,000, then the next year you'll probably be getting 100,000 in 1 year, and then 200,000 the next year, and all that kind of thing. So, if you go up gradually, healthily, that can really help you. Whereas if you go all out and cut the corners, you could be taken off and you lose a long-term monetary benefit. So, does hard work lead to money earlier? Possibly. But the best way to do it is just to work smart. Not hard, but smart. I hope that's helped, and I'll see you in the next lecture. When you do brain-intensive activity, so for instance, what I'm doing right now is quite brain-intensive, got to think about it. When you are doing something like teaching, something that's quite cerebral, that requires you to use your head, whether you're working as an accountant, working as a manager, working as a marketing person, working in development and IT, these things require your brain. They require you to be thinking on an optimal level. And the ability to be able to do that requires your brain to have time to rest, which is why the 4-hour work week is absolutely pivotal for you. If you can do every bit of work in 4 hours on a daily basis, my goodness, how restful would you feel? Now, there are going to be some times, you may have to work 6 hours, you may have to work 8 hours. You've got a project, you've got a deadline, you've got to work a little bit more, fine. But 4-hour work week is kind of the average you need to be looking at. Okay, so 4 hours is an average. Sometimes there will be exceptions. But your brain does need a break. Now, when you're doing manual work, let's say, picking and packing, lifting, doing stuff in a factory or something like that, that requires less brain activity because you can pretty much do it on autopilot. You don't have to think about what you're going to do. You just literally do it. That's what the kind of physical activity tends to be about. So, with that kind of thing, yeah, that's different. But with brain activity, something that requires you to think and requires you to make smart decisions, yeah, your brain needs a break. No matter what you do. If you're thinking about strategies and things that are going to, lead to smarter solutions or better solutions, you need to have a brain that's capable of thinking those solutions. So if you've got a rested brain, a happy brain, a brain that's not pressured by all sorts of million things that can happen when you're stressed and you've got a very pressurized life and a very unhealthy work-life balance, then you're not going to make great decisions. You're going to make much better decisions when you're well rested, you're in a great mentality, great mindset, and you're feeling energetic. That's when stuff happens. And that is why your brain needs a break, and that is why the 4-hour work week is absolutely pivotal to keep you always operating on that optimum performance, keep your body and the decision making and your brain working in an optimal way. That is exactly what you need in order to succeed. And if you're going to succeed in life, you need to have the health, the body health, the mental health to be able to make those decisions that enable you to succeed. That you don't make the wrong decision. Sometimes if you're pressured, you make the wrong decision. You make a panic decision. You shut down rational thought. So you need to not have the fear of that. You need to be relaxed. You need to have a relaxed way of life. And that is exactly how the 4-hour work week helps your brain when it comes to your life, your work life. Okay? So I hope that helps you and gives you some guidance as to why this thing in there, that thing, the all-important brain, needs the rest, needs help, needs to be fueled. So I hope that's helped, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Congratulations and celebrations. Congratulations on completing the 4-hour work-life course. I hope that this has really given you a different perspective as to how you should run your life, how you manage your life, how you manage your work, and how you are able to really increase the pleasure of your work life, your family life, your leisure time, and your sleep. I hope this has given you a better perspective and allowed you to work towards a goal where you can start doing this. Now, personally speaking, I have found it absolutely pivotal to follow this rule. I make sure I do my 4 hours a day. I don't feel guilty in life if I've done my 4 hours. If I've done my 4 hours, I feel happy. I feel like if anybody says, how was your day? I say, yeah, it was great. Even if I had challenges that day or had to make bad decisions, or maybe a decision didn't go my way, I will feel, having done my 4 hours, that I'm much happier in myself, and I'm happy whatever the case. And if anybody asks me the question, I'll give them a positive response. So that's how I have used it. I use it really to relax. I use it because the perfectionist, workaholic side of me is never truly happy with how much I've done. However, if I do my 4 hours and I do it on a daily basis, I am happy because I don't think there's a lot of people out there that can turn it on all the time, every working day. There's not many people that do. Some people have a great day, some people have a bad day, and they just have to lay down and can't do any work because they're paralysed by all the work they have done. So the 4-hour workday keeps you rested, enables you to be able to just work powerfully and effectively on a daily basis, keep coming back for more, keep coming back and progressing things and not letting anything slide, and just enable you to leave your work once it's done and just be happy with it. Okay? So that's how it's benefited me. Now, what are you going to do? What will you do with what you have learned from this? I'd like you to leave some feedback in the course discussions, or even in your feedback on the course, and say what you plan on doing with this new information. What do you plan on doing with it? How do you plan on spending your extra time? Do you think it's likely you will be able to achieve a 4-hour work life for yourself in what you do? And if you can't, what are you going to do about your life so that you can? These are benefits that are available to you if you decide to go for it. If you work online or if you work self-employed from home, is this something that you can do? And if you can't, what can you do in your life to ensure your life fits around it? Because it's important for you in order to be able to have a great life. I certainly love life. And to be honest, once upon a time I used to think to myself, I really want to retire at the age of 30. It didn't happen. But, even after that, I was thinking, well, maybe 33, 35, 40, 50. It doesn't matter to me anymore because I love what I do. And I could continue doing this forever. So if I have to do this till I'm 70, I'd be happy to do that. Simply because I love doing it and because I give myself enough time to rest and recuperate, whilst at the same time loving what I'm producing and at the rate I'm producing it, because I'm allowed to do, because I'm able to do that with the allowance I give myself and with how hard and intense I work within those 4 hours. So, congratulations on completing this course. I hope that you do implement this in your life because it's been a game changer for me, and I hope it can be for you. So, I'm glad you are here. I'm glad to have taught you, and I look forward to seeing you in the course discussions or in another course. So, I'll see you around.